Hello and welcome everyone to the Live Limitless series, where we are focusing all about how to have empowered, conscious, and radiant relationships with self and others. Life is all about relationships. I'm your host, Neepam Jain, and I love helping people globally by clearing their pain, traumas, and limiting beliefs so that they can reach their full potential. So today we have an amazing guest with us, Katie Rossler from USA, right?
Yes, but I live in Germany. I'm from the USA, but I'm in Germany.
Okay, great. So she's gonna tell us about the importance of you in your relationship. Katie is a licensed counselor and a grief healer with over 12 years of experiences, and she has been helping couples, individuals, and families live happier, healthier lives. And she has two successful private practices. One is in USA and Germany. Okay, so Katie, really welcomed on the show today. And what is there you have for our viewers in your toolbox? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the importance of you and your relationship.
Yes.
The couples that I work with here, this is one of the things that's lacking. They come to realize they let go of themselves and who they were before being in the relationship or marriage, and they get lost. And they feel bitterness and frustration. They're hurt. They're upset at their partner. And really, when we get down to it, they realize they've lost themselves and they have to go on a journey to find themselves again. So I think there are ways for us to look at our relationships differently. And I really love the idea of a Venn diagram where you've got the two circles and there's some stuff that overlaps in the center, which is the two of you and your combined hobbies or goals, interests, and things. But there's also parts of the circle that remain outside, which are the things that you love to do and enjoy.
Okay.
And I work with a lot of couples that go, well, we should have the same hobbies. We should have the same, interests. And I go, well, is that really what attracted you to each other? Maybe you were attracted that this person was more athletic than you, or was more interested in wines, or something that you go, oh wow, I want to learn that, but that's not my interest.
Okay. So what interests me, Katie, like why did you, I mean, you work with you are a grief counselor. So what interests me is what made you choose this thing? I mean, if you can share a little bit about your journey and how you came and what you felt that there is a need of being what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, as a licensed counselor, my master's is in marriage and family counseling. So I've always been a couples therapist, and the grief healer piece is largely the work that I do because I find that grief is very present in the work I've done with families, individuals, and couples. Because grief isn't just about the death or loss of someone; it's also changes in roles, changes in identity. When we have to go through a move, when life happens in a way we didn't expect it to, we grieve. And in 2020, grief has been really prevalent for a lot of people. Our lives are not what we expected this year to hold. I laugh because I thought in 2019, I thought, oh, 2020, we'll have clear vision for what we want in our lives. And the clear vision was what's really going on in the world. It wasn't about us anymore. So for the summit, why I wanted to bring up, the importance of you and your relationships is because so many of us are burnt out this year and we're exhausted and it's hurting our relationships because we continue to think in the old way of it's all about them, and we need to get back to taking care of ourselves again and that self-care. And some of it is grieving that things are not the way we thought they would be in our relationships or for ourselves. So I combine both because I see them actually occurring. There's a lot of grief in relationship. There's a lot of letting go of expectations and how we think it should go and really how it is.
You say that we there's you need to focus on yourself, your own boundaries over health, and how does it helps having a better relationship?
Yeah. So if I come to my relationship healthy and much more whole, then I'm a better partner. I'm better at communicating. I'm better at listening. Overall, just I have more ability to be present and mindful with my partner. If I'm exhausted and burnout, overwhelmed, not eating healthy, not getting good sleep, then I'm going to be argumentative, frustrated, pointing the finger at my partner all the time, only seeing the negatives. So it's not that I want people to become so selfish that they forget their partner. I want them to recognize themselves as an equal part of this relationship, and that it matters how they take care of themselves, how they involve self care into their routine, and it doesn't have to be everything together.
So, don't you think there's a very, very thin line between becoming selfish and taking care of your partner? So, how do you know whether it is too much or too less, or how do you gauge that?
Yeah, how do you find the balance? That's a
Yeah.
great question. It's different for every couple and every individual. So what I will say is if you've been that couple that does everything together and it's you both are just exhausted, when you guys shift or one of you changes, the other person won't like it because we like things to stay normal, right? We like it to stay on the same road. And then when something rocks our cart, we don't like it. So don't expect that to be the sign I'm doing something wrong. If you go, wow, I feel so much better about myself, I'm more confident, and I come to the relationship more interested and excited, then you know you're doing something right. If it's all about me and I don't care about this person anymore, you've gone too far. So it is a balance. And most couples are not taking time to take care of themselves individually. So even a little bit, like one half a day a week of doing something more for yourself is going to be an improvement. Or saying, as much as I love watching Netflix on the couch with you every night, I really want to go see my friends, or I really want to go read a book. So I'm going to go do that for myself, and then I'll enjoy our time on the couch later. We just have to break some of our habits. So really notice how you feel in the relationship as you start to take care of yourself. That'll be a good guide.
Okay. So, you talk a lot about this Venn diagram. So, where time, effort, energy are being placed. So, what is this? Can you just let us know a little more about it?
Yeah. So I just think about the Venn diagram just to give you a visual of not the two circles do not completely overlap. If they do, we lose ourselves, which again is the whole point of this is reminding ourselves that we matter in the relationship. When we allow the circles to come separate a little bit, we have that part that's about us. We have our interests, we have our things we enjoy doing. Many couples come 20 years into their relationship and go, I don't really know what I enjoy doing anymore. I don't know what I like anymore. I just always did what he did or what she did. And I want to prevent couples from getting to that point because then we get very bitter if we go, well, I never really enjoyed this. It was only because of you. So when we have that area outside of the common circle, we can start to say, this is what I bring to the relationship. I love to volunteer my time. I love to go and do things in the community, whereas, my partner may not, but that fills up my cup. And when I feel that positive and excited during the day after volunteering, I come to the relationship and dinner is so much more magnetic. I'm interested in what my partner's saying. I want to share about my day. They feed off of my positive energy. So you can literally draw out a Venn diagram and go, what are the things that make up me? What are the things I love? What are the things for my partner? And I've had couples do this and they go, what's the stuff in the center? And it is important we have those things in the center. What are the things that we believe in? Our goals, our, interests and hobbies, even if it's one or two things, because you don't need two circles completely separate from each other.
Right. So, do you
You
think it is really relationships you have to they require a lot of work and commitment? And
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, you think about it. We come into this world as ourselves, we're in a family, and then we get partnered with someone and it doesn't come naturally to know how to do that. Like everybody thinks like I should just know, you should just know me, you should know how to love me. No. We come into it going, I have baggage from my childhood. My parents argued horribly. I don't really know how to communicate. We come with a lot of stuff. So it is work, but it helps you grow into a healthier person. It helps your partner grow into a healthier person
so,
when
how
you look
does
at it
one?
as an exciting thing.
So, how does one does that? How does one? cultivate that relationship? What are the key points being that doing that?
One of the biggest key points is to put your pride to the side and recognize it's okay to not know how to do everything. If you are a parent, then you know this feeling where you just don't know all the time what to do, and that's okay. The same in a relationship. Don't come into it believing you should know everything or that your partner should know everything. Allow for mistakes, allow for learning opportunities. Heck, I'm not the same person I was over 10 years ago when my husband and I met. I can't expect him to be. So when we get in arguments and people, I've heard couples say, well, you're not the same person I married. Of course not. Nobody is. We change, we evolve. So allowing that. So the first is let your pride go that you're going to make mistakes and you need to learn. And so does your partner. And the second is allow you both to grow and change and want to get to know the person who's changing in front of you. Want to know what are your new things that you like. Don't be judgmental because you don't believe or enjoy them as well. Take the time to get to know them. And the third thing I would say, as far as how you really start to cultivate that, is remember that the friendship is probably what drew you in the most. That person you could talk to, that person you could connect with. And when the romance feels like it's gone and the in love feeling is not there, that friendship, that foundation is what we build upon. And that becomes the breeding ground for romance again. When it's like, wow, I really appreciate you just listened to me. You didn't try to fix it. You didn't try to change me. You just listened. And it's the same we would do with friends. We just forget to do that in our relationship.
Great, that's really amazing what you said. So, Kathy, you help a lot of families, individuals, and couples. So, what is a common problem which they all come with? Any kind of, you would like to share any of your testimonials or anything, experience that yeah, this is a pattern and this is the way we can overcome it. Can you just share with us something
Yes,
like
a
that?
huge pattern is we lose sight of gratitude. We take for granted our partner and even our family members. And they, us as well. And everybody's like, but me, they stopped caring. We stopped saying thank you. We stopped being polite. We stopped really acknowledging them for who they are and affirming them. And we just take it for granted. And that I see happen with families. I see that happen with couples, even individuals who come to me. That's happening somewhere in their life. I don't feel valued anymore. And it's about gratitude. We really get comfortable and we go, well, I don't need to do that anymore. We all need to hear thank you. We all need to hear we matter. We all need to hear, I really appreciate that you take care of this and I don't have to think about it. And it takes us, again, like you said, it's work. You have to be mindful. What is it my partner's bringing to the relationship that I don't see? Physically, emotionally, mentally, things like that.
Okay, great. Kathy, I would like to know about the grief, little bit more about it. Like, how do you heal it, and how? I mean, see, despite doing everything in our relationship, things doesn't go smoothly. I mean, doing gratitude, being everything. But what if you find out your partner is still not being true to you?
Mm.
What if there is still a grief in the relationship? How do you overcome that? What tips you will give us to our viewers to follow and
Yes.
be?
So grief is very complex. And as I shared earlier, I have a different definition of it. I don't link it to just death. I look at it in totality. So for a couple, when there's grief, whether it be dishonesty, an affair, just pulling apart, those circles becoming separate, the biggest thing I can say is it's important to have that support, whether it be going to a counselor, going to a leader in your community you feel safe with, together to figure out how to bring that connection back. When there is grief, we tend to feel our grief from the past as well, which I talked about. We have this baggage from our childhood and things. I'm working with a couple right now, and the wife is going through grief of the loss of a parent. And because that's very fresh, it just happened a couple months ago, all of her stuff, all of her grief from the past is coming up. and her husband doesn't know how to sit with it. It's not comfortable. We don't like to sit with somebody who's unhappy,
Yes.
right? We want them to get better, feel better.
Yes.
We don't want to fix it.
Yes.
So I'm teaching him how to sit with it, how to better understand that it's not something that will go away fast, and it doesn't have to. So with grief, what I usually tell people is to really learn the phases of grief. It's really important to understand what phases there are, why they're there, why they're important, and to start looking at grief as a tool for growth. So instead of trying to run from it and escape it, start to see, how is this shaping me? How is this changing me? How am I being more grateful in my life? How am I learning more about my strength to endure sadness and anger? How am I learning how to let go? And when we look at it as a tool for growth, we don't usually run from it as much. I also work with a lot of athletes, and I always say, when you're training, not everything feels good. Not every muscle knows how to work the way it needs to. And in grief, it's figuring all that out. And so there are days where you think, oh, this is easy, and I'm journaling and I feel better. And then there are days where you're not. That's normal. So any other growing and learning experience, we expect growing pains. Grief is the same way. So a lot of what I teach is just education about what grief is, how to sit with other people's grief, how to sit with your own. You don't feel like, oh, well, I want to escape this. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to buy more things. I'm going to binge watch stuff or be on my phone all the time. How to be comfortable sitting with the uncomfortable. And that um, takes time. And we don't like time, right? We want quick solutions, quick
Yes.
now.
We do not want to sit with things, and we just, the moment it is come, we just want to push it away. Okay, everything should be normal.
Right, right. But I think about our great grandparents, and they didn't have phones and fillers and all these things. They had to sit with it. And
Yes.
sometimes they sat with it well, and sometimes they didn't. And so we are in an interesting time where we have so much that can fill up our time that tells us it's important. We get notifications on our phone, we get emails, or we're important. I don't have time to grieve. Okay, well, it will always be there. As I shared with the woman who's grieving now, she's realizing, wow, there were other things. I wish I had grieved better.
Okay. So, distracting when you are into that grief thing, does it help, or you have to really heal it from the root cause?
So with distraction, I say it's another thing about a balance. On one hand, we don't want to feel anger and sadness all day long. So I always say, balance it out with some humor. Maybe if you're going to watch something that's funny. Don't watch something that sinks you in further. If you're going to listen to something that's uplifting, not something that makes you feel worse. So there's that side. And then there's the side of, I'm escaping. And it will feel like an addiction. It'll feel like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And that's when you know that it's actually really trying to escape. So there's like drinking cold water on a hot day. There's that soothing relief, which is the like, okay, let me laugh, let me think of something positive, let me do something like that. And then there's the, I'm making myself feel worse by watching things that hurt me, by doing things that don't fill me up and help me with my grief process. You have to know yourself well enough. And as a grief healer, what I usually do is bring people out of their minds into their bodies through guided meditation. And I go, where are you feeling this pain? And I teach them how to sit with that and not feel like, I don't want to feel this, I want to run away.
Okay.
Um, and I start with talk therapy because most people are comfortable talking about it, not feeling it. So they'll, oh yes, it was horrible this time. Yeah. And they'll, da, 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 da. And they go, okay, stop, close your eyes. And I bring them into their body and I go, where do you feel that? And usually there's an inner child that needs to speak up. And we let her or him speak and kind of say, this is where it is. This is what's really good. The
Okay.
mental chatter has to calm down.
So, is there a process to do that kind of meditation, or what is it like? How do we do that?
Yeah. So I think in the very beginning, it's important to find somebody who's trained so that you have a better understanding of what you're doing. Because if you just do a normal meditation, you won't be guided to the areas that really serve you. If you're like, well, I'm not really interested in working with someone, then I would just say the best thing to do is close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and go, where in my body do I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world?
Okay, amazing.
And then you feel that and you go, okay, what is it you want me to know? And then usually messages come up. It's
Okay.
nice to have someone to support you because they can help you go, what is that about? You know, that you can go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, definitely it is better when you're taking a help from outside. But yeah, sometimes, it's a practice, like many of the therapists and they recommend do meditation. So yeah, I thought, just those few practices if they can just follow. Okay. So Kathy, what is this like, according to you, what are the three most important things in having better relationship or good relationships?
Okay, so clearly number one is going to be about making sure you take care of yourself. Another thing is looking at your boundaries with yourself, your relationship, and with others. How much do you allow others to impact your relationship? How much do you allow your relationship to impact others?
Can you explain this
So,
with an example?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yes.
So we all have those family members who have opinions about anything or everything we do.
Yes.
And when we let that get in our heads and impact our relationship, that's
Yes.
not good boundaries. Or our partner might have a lot of opinions and thoughts about our new hobby that we're really excited about. And that influences us to stop doing it. And there needs to be a boundary of, I get that you don't like it, but this is something I want to try. You have to respect this. So there's that boundary. So it is not that when the wind blows that we get shifted, that we go, you know, you have your opinion, you're allowed to have your opinion. It doesn't mean I have to change. So that boundary I think is really important.
Okay.
And then the third is communicate. Don't expect people to read your mind. Your partner, even 10, 15, 20 years later, probably won't know everything you're thinking, everything you want. So communicate what you need. And when we do the I feel about, I feel angry about how you spoke to me, make sure you tell them what you need. I need you to da 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 da. Tell them more specifics because we often just complain to people and throw our issues on them and go, I feel this way about what you did. And the person's like, okay, what do I do with this? I need you to be more understanding. I need you to listen and not try to fix it. I need you to listen the first time I ask you to take the trash out so I don't feel like a nagging mom to my husband, whatever it might be.
Yes.
Communicate what you actually need. Don't throw the weight of the world on the person and not give them any, like, here's how we fix this.
Yeah, I also believe that expression and that communication between two relation is really really important. Two people, it's really really very important. So before we wind up, Kathy, do you have some tips which our viewers can take away, they can implement in their life, and they can nurture they can have their empowered relationships among themselves?
Yes. So the first one is definitely draw the Venn diagram, draw the circles out and see what you would put in each. You can do it together, you can do it separate. And the second would be weekly have a couples check in. It can be 15 minutes, it can be 20 minutes. Part of it is talking about what do we have this week? Who needs to do what? Who's taking what child this way? Or who's buying the groceries? Whatever it is. But the second half, which is the more important half, is how are we this week? What happened last week we need to talk about. Our lives get so busy that we don't allot time to really process out, like, hey, I didn't like how you spoke to me on Saturday, and it's Sunday, so now let's figure this out. So weekly have a check-in so that it's not every day we're complaining and fighting. We know on Sunday night or whatever day and time we can talk about these things and we can table the conversation and really hash it out then. And then my third key point is always bring a notepad to an argument. Not because you're going to be the lawyer, because it stops you from thinking about what you're going to say next and helps you to really pay attention to what's going on. And you can write down, my husband is upset about this because I did this. And you stop personalizing it as much and you start to really understand those things. So those are my three. I think I'll stop at that. But a notepad when you argue is a key tool most couples don't use.
Yes, I mean, yeah, we don't express, we don't set boundaries, and then it piles up and ups, and one day it's a boom volcano. So
Yes, yes.
so I think the steps which you gave is really the key pointers which we should keep in mind if we really wish to have an empowered relationships. Thank you so much, Katie, for your time. And I know I viewers would have definitely benefited with the tips which you have provided us. And if they want to find you, where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me at katierussler.com or on Instagram at katie.russler.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers, for watching us, listening to us, and hope you implement those tips in your life and have happy, healthy, conscious relationships. See you soon. Stay safe, stay happy, be yourself. Bye.